Hello, I'm Prashna Agrawal. I'm a student at IISER Tirupati and I'm currently doing my master's thesis in condensed matter physics in Germany. I've been asked by a lot of juniors what is the process to apply for master's thesis abroad. So I'm compiling all the answers that I know in one video so that it helps you out and it saves me from answering the same things again. So let's get started. First, we'll focus on how to look for universities. Second, how do you find your potential PIs? Third, how do you approach them? What should you write in the email? What should you attach with the email? Then we'll see, okay, if you get an appointment for a meeting with the PI, what all you need to discuss, how do you go about finding the funding opportunities, and are there other processes after this, or is this the end? So let's get started. First, how to find the university. I think there's a zeroth step. First, you need to know where you want to do your master's thesis. You should know your interest, your broad field. You have your majors, so you probably know, okay, I want to do it in physics, but then it's broad enough, so you need to know, okay, which sub branch of physics you want to go in. So for me, it was condensed matter physics because I had done two semester projects in condensed matter physics, and I wanted to continue. Once you know which field you want to work in, then you need to know which country you want to do it in. Some people prefer to do it in India itself, which is also a good idea. So it's up to you if you want to do it in the US or in Europe or in India or somewhere else. So you make up your mind. It's also possible that you want to apply to multiple places, but then you should always know your priority, which place do you want to make the maximum number of applications, and following the other ones. So this helps you to make up your mind because you cannot keep shooting arrows in all the directions. You need to know where you want to apply. So once you've finalized, okay, this is my priority order. For me, it was Germany, then Switzerland, Italy, and then other parts of Europe. I didn't want to go to the US, so I focused on one particular region. Once you finalize this region, you need to look for universities in this particular country. So how do you go about finding universities? One obvious way is that you look at QS World Ranking, Times Ranking, or other such things. Give you an overall idea of which universities are the good ones, but you do not necessarily need to stick to this QS rankings, because sometimes maybe the university does not have a higher ranking, but the PI is really good, the research department is really good. So I think it's not conclusive. So it can give you an idea of which universities you can get, but I would say go one step ahead. Another way is that if you have already read a few papers, you have come across works of certain people, then it's always a good idea to stalk them a little bit to know where they work, just to know the universities. If you like the book so much, you can look up the authors, which universities do they work in. So these are a good idea of finding out the major universities. So make a list of at least, let's say, 10 universities in your region of preference. Once you finalize this universities, you need to look for your particular department, and you need to find how many people work in your field of interest. So for me, once I finalized, okay, these 10-15 universities in Germany are my target, I focused on finding out the departments of condensed matter physicist, and I did not want to go into the experimental, so I focused on theoretical and computational condensed matter physics. So that helped me narrow down. So per university, I could find 2-3 people max who are working in that region. So when you have a lot of information, I would suggest it's the best idea to make an Excel sheet. I'll show you how this Excel sheet format is supposed to look like towards the end of the video. It should contain the university, names of the professors that work in that university, a brief description of what they work in, because at the end of the day, when you have a lot of applications, you'll forget who works in what. So it's a good idea to keep track of what they work in. Make sure that you also add as an attachment like the link of the web page, because you cannot keep googling them all the time. So these are just some tips. And then you also should make a column for status, as in if you've already sent the email, if you're waiting for the reply, or if it's time for you to send a follow-up emails, or so it's always good to keep track of where exactly are you standing in the application request when it comes to this particular person. And then they make a column for remarks and other such things. So this is how you find PIs and universities. Once you know, okay, so I would say spend the first few days or weeks making this Excel sheet. This is like maybe just when you have your free time, just Google up universities, get used to the websites. When it comes to German websites, European websites in general, you'll realize, okay, there's a pattern. So you open the website, you go to the department, then you'll see names of people, and every group web page will have a section called as job opportunities or open positions or bachelor's and master's thesis, one of these. So you're looking for either of these options, and then you go on that page and then see, okay, so they must have written, okay, we are looking for students who want to do master's thesis under us. If you're interested, please drop an email at so and so email address. So that's straightforward. Then you need to contact this person. Please make a note of this particular email address and the person and what he or she or they work in. That's important. Some people make it explicit that they want letter of motivation, research experience, your CV, your transcript, and everything. So they make it very clear what they're looking for. So then in the email, you need to send all of these attachments. If nothing is mentioned, then we'll take a general rule of what all should go in the email. Okay. So once you've finalized, once you've made this Excel sheet, you know which people you need to approach. Okay, so you also need to know when to stop. How many people do you need to approach? Well, that really depends. It's almost like looking for that one lucky opportunity where you have a good PI, a good position, your area of interest, and should also have funding. Sometimes it's easier to find the first three. You can get projects with amazing people, but funding is always a problem when it comes to doing projects abroad. So to keep your chances good, professor told me to spread the net as far as possible. So as wide as possible. So the thing is, I would say don't stop at least until it's 40 emails, I think. 30-40 applications should be good. If it sounds too much, maybe then just go with whatever you like. But I think it's a good idea to at least do these number. And then what you should do is you should know what to write in the email. Okay, before that, when should you send the emails? You should send the email. I think a good time to start sending emails is starting of September, because you're potentially going to start your master's thesis in May, and you need at least 4 months to finalize the visa procedures and other paperwork, which is a lot. So then you should know by the end of at least make a target that by the end of 7th semester you should have your master's thesis opportunity in hand, so that you can fully enjoy your 8th semester. You don't have much to worry about. So for personally, I thought I need a master's thesis position by the end of October. So I started accordingly. I started sending out emails at the beginning of September, and I decided by the end of October I'll finalize. Whatever options I have, I'll just pick one. So I would suggest the same to you. Don't start too early, because then, I mean, you're applying for next year. So yeah, so see accordingly. End of August, starting of September should be a good time. What to write in the email? Okay, so your email should be well worded. It should not be very lengthy. It should not be too short that he cannot make out who you are. So, and it should be polite enough, but it should not sound like you're begging for a position. You should sound confident. Like, the tone of the email should be, hi, I am a good person for the job. I saw that you need a guy. I am the person for it. So I think it's a good idea for both of us to recruit me. So that should be the tone of the email. To put it more precisely, I would say have like 4 paragraphs in the email. When I say a paragraph, I don't mean like 6 sentences. I just mean like one paragraph which has 3 sentences or max 4 sentences, and then break them. Okay, so that it looks legible. So that the PI does not have to read an entire essay, because these guys are busy and they do not get time to read such long emails. They'll just probably never even open it. So you want to make it attractive. You want to make it easy for the other person to know what the content is without having to go through the entire content. So you start with dear professor, name of the professor, and then I would say don't start going about, hey, yeah, I am Prathna Agrawal and I'm this. It's boring, because the other person does not care until your purpose is important enough. So I used to start with saying, I came across your research work through Twitter or through your research paper or through your web page or conference, and I used to mention what they are working in, so that it seems authentic enough that you have spent some amount of time researching about what they actually do, and you have an idea of what that lab works in. So it's a good idea that you go through that web page. You should broadly know what they're working in. Okay, you should not have a blank mind. Okay, I mean, I just saw you work in condensed matter, so yeah, I mean, take me in, whatever. This is not how it works. So you should know a little bit what they work in. You don't need to really read papers and stuff to know about this. I mean, that's a little too much of work. Just go through the web page, see the major things, mention in your email, okay, I came across your work in so and so thing. I personally find interest in these parts. Maybe all, maybe not all, maybe some of them, some other stuff. Just mention, okay, these are the things I find interest in, and I want to pursue them for my master's thesis. Then once you've stated that this is the purpose of your email, okay, okay, that's not exactly clear at this point what the purpose is, but it's something related to do with your master's thesis and working with him. Then you can briefly mention about yourself. Say that I used to write, I'm Prasna Agrawal. I'm in the 4th year of BSMS program in IISERs Tirupati, India, and I've already worked for 2 semesters or 1 semester in this condensed matter physics. I've done some computational work. I didn't write elaborately in the second paragraph because I used to keep that for the end. So I just used to mention, okay, this is me, and I am actually looking forward to apply to you for this master's thesis position, which starts from May 2020, whatever your year is, to the next, whatever your year is. It could be May or it could be August, it depends up to you. And in the third paragraph, which is not really a paragraph, it used to be just 2 sentences, I used to ask if you have master's thesis positions available, and if we could have a discussion about my candidature. I did not straight away ever ask, okay, just please take me in. I used to ask if we can please have a discussion, if to see if I am a good candidate for your lab, and which is also in a subtle way of saying, let's explore the funding opportunities. In the last paragraph, I used to justify why this person should spend this amount of time with me. So I used to write, I have a solid academic background in this field, and I've taken courses. What are prerequisites for this work? So I used to say, yeah, I've done courses in advanced statistical mechanics, quantum field theory, and all the relevant courses I used to state there. And I used to, if it's a computational work, I also used to state, yeah, I have some computational experience, I work in this. And then you basically need to, like, it's your way. This used to be my longest paragraph where I used to justify that I'm good enough for this job. And I also used to write, okay, just for your reference, I'm attaching my CV transcript for your reference. And then I used to end with looking forward to hearing from you, and sincere regards, and the signature. So what needs to go with the email, the attachment really depends. Okay, for me, CV is, of course, you need to attach a CV. I would say a good length of a detailed CV is 3 to 4 pages. 2 pages is good, but it's like short CV. I would say it's okay to go with a little detailed CV, unless they specifically ask for a short one. Go with 3 or 4 pages. And then you need to, if you are confident about your grades, you need to show it off. You think it could be an asset, attach a transcript. If you want to skip it, feel free to skip it. Some people don't really give much importance to what grades you have. So maybe just mention it in your CV and don't attach it as a transcript. Some people explicitly say we need a letter of recommendation and what research experience you already have. So for them, you need to write an additional document that outlines your research experience so far and your letter of motivation. If they do not explicitly ask for it, I don't think it's necessary. I never sent it unless asked otherwise. So 2 things, CV, transcript. If you want to skip transcript, then just CV. And so this is the draft of the email. Now one thing to keep in mind is that this should not be very general, because these guys have been reading emails for like almost most of their lives. So they know that you can't keep sending all of them the same email like that. It has to be personalized enough. The person should know you've spent good amount of time researching about them, and this email is written for them because you really want to work with them. So it should look genuine enough. But at the same time, it's not possible to keep writing the same thing different for different people if you want to send it to 30 or 35 people. So the good thing is that you should know, okay, this paragraph, your description remains the same. The description about the other person keeps varying. So for some people, you say, okay, you came across through Twitter, or some other people you get to know through their webpage. So you just make it explicit, make it sound authentic. Okay, I came across to know about you from this source. And then it can be up to you how you want to show that, how interested you are in the work. So I would suggest don't overuse the word of fascinating and then exciting. I know these are unavoidable, but try writing something more concrete. This is something just I've learned over time, but then I also do it. So just try coming up with better words. And sometimes I used to think it's a better idea to highlight certain parts of the email. Like, say if the person has to read the email in, let's say, 15 seconds. So I used to just highlight, if he looks at these 12 words, 12 highlighted words, bold words, he should know what is contained in the email. So I used to highlight that I'm interested his work. I used to highlight, and then I used to I want to apply to your lab. What I am, I used to highlight that. just that, and then the line that I want to ask you for master's thesis position. And I used to just highlight something like I have a solid academic background. So I used to just put it in bold, solid academic background, so that if the person is interested, he can go through the email and then get back to you. So once you've sent the email, make a note of it in your Excel sheet, and the question then comes is that the end of story? Like, is just one email enough? So most professors, some of them will not answer. Just get used to it, okay, because they have no time, so it's okay. Most people who reply on the same day without opening the email, you can almost say that yes, it's a no. Yes, it's a no. Yeah, that's nice. But it's a no. So they've just, they respond immediately, like they do not have master's thesis position, so you cannot take you in. That's okay. Some people take time, but the problem there is you never know if they ignored it or they need more time. Are they reviewing your application or what? Some people forget because they're actually busy and then it just slips their mind. So what you can do is, if you start applying in early September, then you can send a follow-up reminder after 2 weeks. Okay, as you start approaching October, you can shorten this follow-up gap. You can make it like 1 week. Send a follow-up email after 1 week. And what goes in the follow-up email? Okay, so what I used to write is, I approached you for this master's thesis position. In the details are in the trailing email, and I would really appreciate if you could just let me know if there's a position, or if I'm a good enough candidate for it. Even if it's a no, that's okay, because it will help me plan my whatever I want to do next. So just make it super polite that the other person is morally obligated to get back to you. So yeah, that's the way to go about it. So you should send a follow-up email, and it's a good idea to send a follow-up email. After 2 weeks, you can send it. And then also make a note about this in the Excel sheet, because you should know, okay, 2 weeks have passed, now it's a time for a follow-up email. So yeah, and do not send an email and keep waiting for the reply. Keep finding the new one. Keep finding the new one. Don't settle like just you got one reply and you're like, that's done. Don't stop there, because you need more options. At the end of the day, you should be the one who gets to decide if you want to go with option A or with option B or C, D, E, if you're lucky. So that is about emails. And let me look at my cue card. What else? Attachments and funding. Okay, so should you mention in the email itself that you have funding opportunities, or ask them? I don't think it's necessary to ask them in the email right away. Let's first see if they have a position. Ask them for a meeting. Once you meet them on Zoom or something, probably they'll bring it up or you bring it up and ask, okay, so what about money? You need to come, you need to live in a different country and you need to survive and you need some funding opportunities. So what about this? So some professors ask this to you. Do you have funding on your end? If you have self-funding, awesome, then there's nothing stopping you. But for most people, it's difficult that you have self-funding. So you could say, no, I don't have funding on my part immediately, but I could apply to programs like DAAD-WISE. DAAD-WISE is just a 3-month internship scholarship. Like, it's a funding for just 3 months. So if you're doing it abroad, you can get for 3 months. But then for the rest of the stay, you need to know what to do. There are something like Swiss India Fellowship and various other fellowships that you can get. So you could just say, I don't have at the moment, but I can look up for this. The professor will most likely say, okay, so yeah, maybe I'll also check if I have funds on my part to basically provide you with this stay for 1 year. So at least you have a position now, and the question boils down to funding. So you can just mark it in your Excel sheet that, okay, so now it is at the funding stage. So most people will get back to you, okay, I had funds, I can give you, all is good, then perfect, you have a position and go ahead with it. And some people would be like, okay, I have funding for 6 months, can you manage for another 6 months, or can you do it online? Well, then make a note of it. It's not a bad option after all. You have a position, you just cannot stay there for 12 months. So just make a note of it, and then keep looking for more options. One thing is that most people, when they have an interview with them, so some people just talk to you and try to gauge how smart you are and if you are good enough for the job. Some people will ask you to present your work. So they'll be like, okay, so you have worked on any project so far, right? Any project. So just present it to us. Like let's decide a date from 2 weeks from now where you just present your work and we ask you some questions from it so as to understand how much you understand about your work. And so don't be freaked out. It's simple. They're very polite, and then they will just ask you basic questions about your work which you should know and which you'll know. If you don't know, just accept it gracefully. Yeah, you don't know it, which is fine. So just be confident and present. It gives you a lot of experience to present it to a lot of professors from foreign universities. So it's a good thing. And yeah, so then then if they're satisfied, they're like, okay, yeah, good enough, cool, let's see funding. So yeah, that's as far as funding is concerned. This was it. Once you get your final positions and you decide, okay, this is the professor I want to work with, then immediately start away with the paperwork, because it takes a while. If it's a country like Germany, you'll know how much it sucks. So basically, there'll be a lot of paperwork, documents you need to receive, and then you need to know what is the right kind of visa you need to apply for. And the funny thing is, it's not every MS thesis student gets the same kind of visa, even if they're going to the same country. Yeah, welcome to Germany, and I think that's the case for other countries also, but I'm not sure. So you need to know which documents you receive from the university. Sometimes you need to receive a physical copy from them, so they will actually physically send it to you, so it's going to take a while. Then you need to start filling out the visa application, apply for it. At the same time, you'll have your NSEM exams, so haha. But then focus on NSEM exams, and then in December you should have some time for these things. So then apply for visa, and then yeah, maybe I can make a detailed video about visa applications if that concerns a lot of you. One broad idea is that once you finalize your visa type, you make an appointment to VFS if it's a German visa. So you go to VFS, submit your documents, they send it to the embassy. If embassy is okay, it should come to you within 15 to 20 days. Some people are really early, some people get a little bit of delay, but it's usually like 15-20 days because it's research and it's a high priority thing. So yeah, once you get your visa, then you need to do a little bit more of paperwork, because yeah, some at my time there were some COVID regulations regarding vaccine and stuff. Probably that's okay now, so you need to keep an eye at that stuff also, so that you can have like a relaxed, smooth 8th semester. So try to do these things by the end of December, January. You'll have an appointment maybe somewhere in February, March, so you'll have your visa by the end of March or starting of April. And it's a good idea. So the semester is gonna end by mid-May, I think. So you can maybe move to your country then, or maybe at the start of June. So yeah, all the very best, and I hope you find a good place to work in India or abroad. Ciao.